You don't even remember how you built your Maya? Well, there's like two ways to build her. Thoughtlock or not Thoughtlock. So like, I think there's only one good way to build gun build on the right tree. So we can go ahead and lock this in. Because if you think about it, Helios doesn't provide a lot of damage, especially if the enemy is not flesh. Backdraft doesn't provide a lot of damage unless you're gonna just spam it, which that's not what you're doing. Blight Phoenix does like 0 damage. So the logical solution is more mag and reload, more elemental chance to get down the tree, more burn damage in case you're bad, more chain reaction in case you're good, cloud kill because you're bad still, Reaper because we're still bad, and then Ruin because slag is cool. And I think everyone can kind of agree that's like a pretty common right tree type of thing. Now, middle tree is where it gets a little more weird. So we have Mind's Eye, which is good. And then we have, well, we're going to go with Wreck because that's more damage. And then from here, it's weird. Because if you're in co-op, you want Restoration. If you're in co-op, you want Res. But if you're not, you want Sweet Release. And then from here, you have to decide, do I want healing for my team? Do I want a little bit of healing for myself in combat that'll never actually keep up with the damage enemies deal? Or do I want a little bit of passive healing while I'm just AFK? Or do I want to kill Hatterax? So any of those are pretty eligible. Life Tap is like having a built-in grog on kill. So I run it like this to have that. And then I run Scorn. So this is how I would build out middle tree, probably if I was just playing solo alone and wanted to like farm Hatterax as well without having to respec ever. And then from here, if you're running a legendary Siren, you can pretty much just kind of like do whatever for these two. Maybe just 1 point there and then 4 there. And then if you want to run like a really squishy shield and you need it to be a little bit better about it, Kinetic Reflection. If you need more Suspend, you could run Suspension. If you want a better shield, once again, you could run Inertia. If you want to run funny, Fleet. And then Convergence is just nice for every build. And then you can go ahead and just like cap out that. So this is a reasonable run, like build to run. You could probably do something like this instead though, if you really just wanted to be quirky Thoughtlock character. And then if you really want to double down, you could also put some points into Subsequence instead. And then you could like take one out of there, put one here or something. Because like most of her skills are good. Maya is just that type of character. It's really hard to mess up a Maya build. Every skill has a debatable reason to exist. Except for like Helios, Backdraft, and Blight Phoenix. Blight Phoenix is never good, unfortunately. Helios is okay in early game. And then Backdraft is weird Transformer Slowhand spam build, which is usable and funny, but also you're not going to be able to look at your screen. But you could do that. These are all options. Maya is really, really diverse and really nice. Blight Phoenix can at least stumble at enemies who get close. I guess that's kind of fair. But when you compare it to other skills in the tree, I would prefer to not spec it. I mean, I guess you could not run Flicker, and you could run Blight Phoenix instead, and then it would still be reasonable. But I never feel like I get a good use out of Blight Phoenix. Just 1 point? Okay, then yeah, sure. Then you could do that as well. You could just put 1 point in Blight Phoenix for the chance to stagger Psychos. And I'm trying to think what other enemies will... I mean, it's mainly Psychos that stagger the most. But yeah, this would still be helpful, I guess. And then you could run it like this. Personally, I wouldn't do this because I like to have all my skills capped out, and I also just play basically like a roamer, where I just jump around and jump on stuff. But you could do that if you wanted to. This would be like a really good single player build for sure. Although I guess if you have Thought Lock, you don't really want Sweet Release because that means your thing that you Thought Locked died. So maybe you'd want Elated instead for the healing, or you would want Sustenance for the healing, or you would want Life Tap for the healing. So this is up in the air. It kind of just depends on what you want the character to feel like, because you can, once again, argue that pretty much anything is useful for Maya.